This week we'll have two discussions, and the first one is about good driving questions. So for your initial message, you're going to share one or two criteria that are important when we think about good driving questions. Now, you're not going to enter a laundry list of criteria because remember, we have to leave something good for our classmates to share. So you provide one or two criteria, and then you give an example of a lesson that you've created or observed that incorporated that criteria you used. Now remember that you're not just going to give opinions on what would be good driving questions. You need to support your claims with statements from the learning materials. And so in particular, we have chapter 5 that addresses content to questions and questions to skills. And the Bach Institute website has a search for driving questions that I've linked on the course materials that you can use. Any of those resources you can cite in order to share your ideas of what are important characteristics of good driving questions. Then you are going to respond to one classmate. Each of you is going to share what they believe is important based on what they've read. But here's where we'll help each other refine our ideas, because maybe at the beginning we didn't quite understand the concept, or maybe we did. You want to choose one of the classmates and basically say, hey, you said this, but Prensky is saying that, and maybe what we should go after here as a good driving question is this. And so you help each other refine your ideas until we really have a really good set of characteristics of good driving questions. Now, when I say use what you learn from the readings, there's no need to quote all the time. Quoting is one way in which you can bring in ideas from text and learning materials, but you only can use quote when the way that the author said something is so unique that you cannot paraphrase it and do justice. So for most of the ideas in the books, you don't need to quote, and also quoting means you trying hard to get one great idea from the author word by word, but it takes a little bit more time. What I'm going after here is that when you close the book, when you're done reading or viewing the videos, what do you remember that can accurately be traced back to that particular author? Use that as the evidence you provide for, in this case, a characteristic of a good driving question. So no need to quote all the time, paraphrasing is fine. Then for your response, remember that in that one required message you need to do in-text citations. Use the in-text citations to signal where you're borrowing the ideas from the authors of the learning materials. Remember that you can't plagiarize, you can't pass a great idea as if it was yours. That's another issue of not using in-text citations. Remember that our good friends from the Purdue Old Writing Lab is a good resource to show you how to add in-text citations and also how to add the reference to the particular learning material that you used when you have to include the reference at the bottom of your message. And they include not only books and articles, but also electronic sources, of which we have a few in our course. And remember also that the requirement for citing is only there for the required messages that you have to post. If you post additional messages because you feel like, somebody else said something interesting and you want to chip into that, you can post additional messages. You don't have to keep on quoting or paraphrasing. That's fine. I just want to see you meet the requirement in the required number of messages for each week, the initial message and the required number of responses. Then we have a second discussion, and this one is actually an opportunity to receive and provide peer feedback. And this has been a great thing. We've done it in a number of other courses that I've taught here at Purdue. And it's a great opportunity for you to refine the ideas you have. It's a great eye-opener. This is the first time that you write a portion of an assignment. It is a big assignment. You want to make sure it's right. If you only submit by the assignment date and I'm the only one who sees it, it's too late. You're gonna get a grade, and if it's a low grade, it's a low grade. If it's a high grade, great. But here we have an opportunity to share what we have in mind before submission. So for your initial message, you're going to do just that. You're going to post your description of the learners, the context, and also your driving question. And you can post as much as you like from that Part A assignment. Now, this post needs to reflect what you learned so far about keeping it real, not just relevant, about incorporating students' passions, and about what makes good driving questions. So you want to make sure that you are designing something that is good based on what you learned in the learning materials. Then for your responses, you're going to respond to 2 of your peers, and you want to base your feedback on whether their driving question really embodies the characteristics of a good driving question based on what you learned from the learning materials. And then you also can provide feedback on whether their description of the learners and context matches the assignment requirements. Are they missing anything? Did they take into account all the requirements in the assignment document? So you want to help each other out, refine ideas, and turn in the best possible assignment they can. For the deadlines, your initial message needs to be due by the 25th March. It's a Wednesday, and then any responses in each of the forums needs to be in by Sunday at the latest, March the 29th. Of course, you can post whenever you like, as long as there is an initial message from somebody in each forum for you to reply to. You're welcome to post your responses early. All messages are due by the deadline at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time.